Rival Sports Pod, covering the New York sports scene and behind the scenes, including the Buffalo Bills, New York Jets, New York Mets, and everything else in New York sports worth your precious time. And now here's Joe Pastor and Glenn Ferretti.
Another episode of Rival Sports Pod. What's going on, Glenn?
What's up, Joe? How's it going, buddy?
Good, good. Long time no see since, Sunday up at Bar Bill.
Yeah, our first ever experience at the newly opened Buffalo Bills restaurant, famous for their chicken wings and beef on wax sandwiches. Definitely an interesting first encounter there.
Yeah, it is because, people in the Rochester area maybe have been to the one in Buffalo, but that's more like a special occasion. Now that there's one in town, it's a big destination and it's tough to get into.
Yeah, I would say it is tough to get into, but maybe we should break down our experience so we could kind of talk about how tough it is.
Yeah, could give some pointers, maybe save somebody a little bit of the frustration that we experienced on Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, I will start out by saying it's actually the second time that I've been there, and the food's a 10 out of 10. So we'll start there, but I think we're going to more go into the experience. So obviously we had a buddy who was super gung-ho about going out and watching the game. So I'm usually a sit-at-home guy and, watch in my basement on the 3 TVs. But, I caved this time, and because he said, hey, I'm going to get there at 11:30. Reserve a table. You guys could show up 12:30, 12:40, and the girl says we're good with the table. So we get there at 12:30, 12:40. Place is packed, right? I mean, 100%, 100% seating capacity, and he's standing or sitting in the bar area.
Yeah, like as I'm entering, there's like a bunch of people all in their Bills gear, like leaving and like discussing where else they're gonna go. And then I'm like, oh, good. I'm glad we got a table.
Yeah, I'm glad he got here early. We got the text message, said, hey, show up at 12:30. We're good. I already talked to the girl. So I'm like, perfect. I was meeting you guys there, bring in my wife, and, we're starving. We're going to sit down, watch all the games. I assumed, it's a sports bar. So I assumed there would be all the games on, and pull up and you guys are at the bar, still waiting for a table. So a little surprised when I walk in, but I figure maybe they're just waiting till everyone gets here. To be able to seat everyone. Like, that's understandable. I'm sure they have our table reserved. He's been sitting there for an hour and 15 minutes.
Yeah, especially because there's a guy with like kids. And mine brought a kid too. So there's like, 4 kids in the group. So it's like, okay, we're getting a table.
Yep. So I was the last one to show up. Everyone arrives at 12:40. Girl's like, hey, we're going to seat you, as soon as we can. A couple tables should open up. Obviously, we all look around at each other and say, like, how many people are really going to get up right now when the game's about to start in 20 minutes? So low hopes for that. So we sat there looking at our watch. Game starts, still no table. 1:15, 1:30 rolls around.
Well, when did the one table open up?
Yeah, I think it was around like 1:25, 1:30. So he'd been there for 2 hours.
Yeah,
already. We've been there about 50 minutes to an hour. So obviously, being the classy gentleman we are, we allowed all the 4 kids and one of the dads to go sit with his kids in the other room and start ordering their food.
Now, apparently, Mons told the dad that the adults would take turns cycling in and out at the kid table.
Yeah, he denies that story, but I'm not really sure because I think it's pretty true. He then said one of the other adults would come sit at the end of the table to keep him company, which I never agreed to, and I don't think you ever agreed to doing.
No, I didn't hear about this till maybe sometime into the second or third quarter.
Yeah. So our plan was just to kind of hang out in the bar area, wait for a second 5-top table to open up, and just sit wherever. Well, 2:00 rolls around. And we had kind of meandered over to a location in the bar that had, I would say, 7-foot by 3-foot flat table, perfectly good for eating. But there was no chairs, nothing like that. Not a normal table, but we're dudes. Like, we can eat wings standing up, right? We're not going crazy. We're not having a 5-course meal.
Yeah, it's like something you stand around. There's a beam coming through it. So like imagine instead of just like capping the I-beam, they capped the I-beam and built like a rectangle a large rectangle about it. I don't know, maybe 8 foot by 3 foot, perhaps.
Right. So I think me and you both planned on being there for till about halftime. We're ready probably at the end of the first quarter. So we're like, all right, well, let's just go to the bar, see if we can just order the food there, and we'll just stand up and eat it. Like, it's not a big deal. I really don't need to sit down. I really don't want to sit down at a booth anyway and watch the games. Like, it's not a big deal. So first trip to the bar, walk up there. We already have some drinks going. We have a tab going. We already know the people. Say, hey, can we order some wings and just sit or stand at this table and eat some wings? First denial of the day is, sorry, we don't serve unless you're sitting at a table or sitting at the bar area. So completely denied on.
And we're like, we have a table right over there. She goes, well, that's not a table. That's not, like, well, what would you call it? She goes, well, it's not in the system. I'm like, how can you not just put like big wood table in the system? Like, how is that hard?
Yeah. So we go back to our non-table.
Oh, and then we asked if there was takeout. Like, well, can we just order? Maybe it was later because we got frustrated. We're like, can we just order takeout? She's like, yeah, no takeout.
Yeah, so that was the second thing. We went back.
That was the second time?
Finished our drink for another 15 minutes, and now it's like starting to get into the second quarter. 10 minutes to go, probably before halftime. We're like, yeah, you know what? Let's just get them to go. We're gonna leave at halftime. Like, no big deal. So we go up. Surely we could just order food like we're in a restaurant that serves, like, pretty much they're serving all wings and French fries like all day long. So it shouldn't be too much of a challenge. So obviously you just said, second denial of the day. We can't serve food to people taking out. We're just too busy. We can only serve people that are actually in a seat or at a table. But apparently our table does not constitute the definition of a table, even though it looks like one.
It's not in the system.
It's not in the system. There's no possible way that the kitchen, that was probably about 7 feet from us, would ever be able to find us with the wings.
Yeah.
Because if they walked out and said, hey, I'm looking for the people that ordered wings in this general area, they couldn't find us, not in the computer system. So so we obviously decide to make a change of location decision and say, hey, let's just go up to another local sports bar and grab some lunch, and then we'll just head home. We'll get some food there. So I got in my car. I don't know. Did you get in your car and leave? Were you actually on the road? Okay.
I was actually I was on Empire, and I turned around. I don't think I made it as far as Wegmans. I don't know. It doesn't matter. I think just before that park, there's like a little barber shop there on the left. I turned around there.
Yeah, so we both got the call saying that the manager had reconsidered what the definition of a servable table is, as we were probably a half mile down the road, and said, hey, we're going to serve you at this table. So, we're already invested in this place for at least 2.5 hours at this point. We know the food is good, so I will reiterate, the wings are top notch. So we decided to turn around and get served. Believe it or not, they were able to find the table that we were eating at when we ordered our food, and it wasn't really that challenging. The guy just walked out. He had our food, and lo and behold, we got served.
And it wasn't even a guy; it must have been a high school kid. Like, that kid was young, and he knew he had a kid had no problem finding us. And the funny thing too is, when I ordered the food, the bartender, I think she was mad. We went over her head, and she's like, "Well, since that table's not in the system, I had to put it to that one there. So you're going to have to look out and make sure you flag them down."
Oh, yeah.
So when I went to close out, where it says tip on the bill, I was going to put the tip is not in the system.
Oh, God.
I did tip her, though.
We know you. Yeah.
I did. But I thought that would be funny to do.
Yeah.
But,
I'm pretty sure the people at the table directly to us did not order like 7 dozen wings, that they would know they're not there. So,
yeah.
But yeah, quite a first experience. Oh, and then, which I understand, it's a Buffalo Bills bar. Everybody wants to watch the game, but there is not one TV. And if you're gambling on games, you want to be able to watch more than one game. So they only play the Bills game, which is great for a Bills atmosphere. But if you're looking to enjoy Sunday football outside of that, probably not the best place to watch a game.
Yes.
If you're not a Bills fan.
The other critique I would have of it as a Bills fan is I thought they had the volume of the game very low.
Mm-hmm.
I thought the volume of the game should be higher, especially if you're going to be like, this is a Bills place. We're putting the Bills on every TV. Why could we barely hear? I wanted to hear Romo and Jim Nantz.
Yeah, I think I don't know if it was they didn't go crazy with the sound system since it's been converted from another bar. Um, but yeah, no, it wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't super loud. Like they were scoring
Yeah.
at will, and it was more like the inner bar noise more than anything. Like didn't really hear the game sound that much.
Yeah.
But the wigs were good.
They
Food
were
was
great.
good. Yeah, food was good, and quite an interesting experience. So if you're looking to go to this restaurant, Bar Bill and Webster, definitely get there early, but make sure everybody shows up with you, or you're probably not going to get a seat, even if they promise you one an hour later.
Correct.
Yeah, so probably be the last weekend I'm out at the bar watching the games. I think I'll cozy back up in the basement with every game on.
Yeah, I'm usually a home guy myself. But one of the things we were talking about is that game started and they were scoring at will. Was like, well, whoever gets the ball last is going to win. Someone's going to need a turnover. And then all hell broke loose, at least on the Buffalo side of the ball, disrupting everything. And it's just kind of amazing how quickly the game changed from trading scores to just Bills domination.
Yeah. Yeah, it ended quickly. Yeah, I think it was 21-14 when we were talking. It was like, all right, Dolphins are 21-14. They're going to go back down and score back at fourth, and it never materialized. I mean, they only scored 6 points the rest of the game, but I mean, I think that's kind of like AFC East football. Like, I don't think people expected 50 points to 20, but typically the home team has the advantage when they're playing each other, and you expect them to win. But yeah, the Bills really obviously showed something this week.
Yeah, they really showed a couple of things to, I guess, counteract what Miami does. 'Cause one of the things they do with Tyreek Hill is that cheat motion. So basically, just quickly explain that in case anyone's not exactly sure what that means. Instead of motioning them all the way around the formation, behind the center, behind the quarterback to the other side, they'll start them off and on the edge and just give him a nice short motion and then take off. So he has a head start and they can't, keep up with them. So in that case, if there's no one up top, one thing the Bills were doing is they were blitzing from that side. They were like, if there's no deep threat up top, we're just going to blitz from that side. And it was working. They were getting to him. I mean, Trey White almost got a sack. Tron Johnson blitzed in there with the same, type of thing. So I thought that was an interesting way, to attack it. Hey, there's no threat here. Why just have a guy hang out in the flat guarding nobody? Let's attack the quarterback, and that helped disrupt Tua.
Right, yeah, and I think they had said they used the least amount of motion, like in all of their games. So, I think outside of even just the play on the field, I think the game planning, the play calling was definitely disrupted by the way the Bills defense turned around. I mean, had McDaniel calling plays out of his comfort zone.
Yeah, and McDermott. The other thing that they did was they were playing like a quarters defense where you basically break up the field into 4 quarters with the 4 defenders, dividing it up into into a square, if you will. But then also using like a 5th guy. So if there's a guy up high, you actually have 5 defensive backs, and one guy takes that one guy almost on like a one-on-one type of thing. And then the other 4 people are occupying that other part of the field.
Yeah.
And they were breaking up that first read that Tua likes. Let me get that first read and get the ball out quickly, and he couldn't do it because like the Bills were doing that modified quarters defense, which I thought was another thing. So like one of the things I think that comes to light in this game is like so many of the things, and there are even criticisms I've had of the Bills, like were false in this game. Like maybe it's not a good idea that McDermott calls the defense or he can't win a big game, but look what he did. He was the head coach. He had this defense that shut them down and looked like they couldn't do anything. And certainly not the playoff game that we're hoping to win. But a huge game nonetheless, because you lose that game, now you're 2-2. You just lost your home game against a team that's now 4-0. Bills would have been in trouble for the division.
Yeah, no, I get that. And I think they really got the Dolphins like out of their game. I know the
Mm-hmm.
Dolphins, have huge passing numbers, but typically they're big plays as well, and they're able to kind of control the clock with some of the running or
Mm-hmm.
get big plays out of their run game. I mean, the Bills held Mostert to 9 yards rushing. I know the rookie had 100 yards, but really, he bursted a big one there. So there might have been more opportunities for the Dolphins to actually get points through the run game, but they kind of abandoned that quickly when the score was getting out of hand.
Yeah. And that defensive line of the Bills too, which again is another criticism that I've had. Why do we keep investing all of this in our defensive line? But look at Ed Oliver,
Yeah, Rousseau had a couple sacks.
Greg Rousseau in there. So I mean, a lot of questions and criticisms people had. It's like
Yeah,
it's not so much on Sunday. It's a long season, but not so much on Sunday. So that was a really big day, and the way Josh Allen turned out, um, playing smart, but also still doing those Josh Allen things and scrambling around and threading the needle on one of the touchdown passes to Diggs, some of the deeper balls to Gabe Davis. And it was more than just the Allen to Diggs show, which is, again, can't expect Allen to do it all himself. We've talked about this. And he didn't have to, but he still walks away with this perfect quarterback rating. He had 5 total touchdowns and only 4 incompletions. Like,
yeah,
that's insane.
yeah, and I think part of it being so early in the season is like people love to get caught up in how amazing a team is because they had a huge win.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, they scored 70 points against the Denver Broncos, who struggled, this week again to win the game. I know
Mm-hmm.
they did, but they also beat New England and the Chargers, who have kind of been in a game
Yeah.
every single week as well. So, like, quickly anointing the Dolphins as the top team is sometimes, there's a little bit of false hope there as well. I mean, the Bills have definitely played tougher games. I mean, the Jets obviously beat them. The defense is more elite, and Washington's playing well, and they trounced them. Vegas is Vegas, but
Mm-hmm.
it's just hard to make a determination of like who teams are
Yep.
in one quarter of the
Mm-hmm.
season. Like Allen went from, you know, what the hell is the guy doing? He's the
Yeah.
same as last year. He's going to keep making all the mistakes. He's crying in a press conference, basically, to now like an MVP candidate,
Mm-hmm.
Super Bowl favorites in 4 weeks. So just got to be careful
Yeah.
with some of that stuff.
Yeah. And I think Miami's still a good team. Like, I would be surprised if they don't make the playoffs.
Oh yeah, I'm not even saying that. I'm just saying they're not anointed as the
Yeah. No,
best team because you beat the Broncos. Like
Yeah.
the Broncos clearly
Yeah.
gave up. They were
Yeah.
getting their asses kicked, and they just
Yeah.
mailed it in.
Yeah, and I think the other point that I was trying to agree with was that we often, as fans and the media, overreact, based on one game,
Yeah, they played the Bears.
or a few games. Like, obviously, the Texans look a lot better this year, but there's still a lot of football left to play. They could easily end up a 4-win team at the
Yep.
end of the day.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah, they beat the Bears. That's who they beat. I'm like, they barely
Yeah.
beat the Bears, so it's
Yeah.
like, is Denver really a team that should hang within any amount of points if they have any pride?
Yeah.
So yeah, obviously a good win for the Bills. Who do they have this week coming up?
This week they're headed to London.
That's right.
They're headed to London, and actually, I think Santa brought a gift.
Oh God.
I thought it was for the Bills, but it says no, to Bills fans and Nick Wright. Please share Santa.
Who's Nick Wright?
Is it Nick Wright? Isn't he that guy who hates the Bills on First Take? Is that First Take?
I don't know.
The guy who looks like Kylo Ren.
I don't know. I guess I don't know him that well.
The guy who hates the Bills. You love him. Is he on FS1?
There's a lot of guys that hate the Bills, and
He's got the beard. Looks like a nerd.
you might be right.
Yeah, but anyway, we have to go to Santa. Santa says, "Please share," and you don't want to get on Santa's bad list. I've been on Santa's bad list. Did I ever tell you the time Santa gave me coal for Christmas?
No.
No, I got real presents too, but at first in my stocking, I literally did get coal. I had mentioned, I think, past that my parents didn't know what to do with me. They got me a swear closet.
I remember that.
Yeah. So I had been pretty bad that year. For example, one of the things I remember doing was, my neighbor's mom never let me forget this. I went up to her one day and asked her how to spell hole, and she said HOLE. So little does she know, then later she goes outside and with chalk, I wrote asshole on the sidewalk, like huge, like one letter per like sidewalk square, all the way up Sandhurst Drive. As a kid, and the way she would tell the story was he didn't know how to spell hole, but he knew how to spell ass.
Yeah, of course. How old were you?
I couldn't have been. Well, I moved out of there in 5th grade, so I must have been 9, maybe 10.
Okay.
If that old, I don't remember.
Yeah, you probably should have known how to spell hole at that point.
Yeah, maybe younger.
Yeah. That's funny.
Yeah. So yeah, I got coal. But yeah, let's see what Santa's got here for Bills fans. He wrapped it. He means business.
Jeez, this guy's taking this to another level.
Yeah. You've been getting a lot of gift bags from Santa.
People must think you're weird if you're Christmas shopping in October.
Yeah. It's what is it? Oh, it's a window, and it says to open it. Oh, look what happens. It must be the Buffalo Bills Super Bowl window, and Santa says it's wide open.
Of course it is. That's a typical Bills fan. That was the first text I sent out after the game was Super Bowl to all the Bills fans. Riding high. This is the best part of being a Jets fan is when the Bills' hope is so high and then the playoffs come around and we have some other crazy thing. It's just I can't think of what's going to happen next. I never could have pictured 13 seconds. It's almost for us, our Christmas is like, what is going to happen to the Bills next?
Did you say something? I was still looking at the Super Bowl window.
Yeah, of course you are. Enjoy the window because it hasn't shown up yet. It's closed every other year.
Well, I guess Santa must be a Bills fan.
Yeah. Well, who else is Bills fans? I think there's one guy. There's actually a couple interesting decisions the Bills have made in the last few weeks. I'm interested in your thoughts. I mean, I know number one was it Takeo Spikes was at the game and they decided to put him up in a suite. They had an obstructed view, and he wound up leaving the game at halftime. I mean, how do we explain that decision by the Bills brass?
So the way I heard it explained was that initially he said he wanted to stay on the field, and then he changed his mind and wanted a suite, and the only one that was available short notice was an obstructed view. That being said, it's still a bad look. Maybe you could have found somewhere else to put him.
So he's definitely not owner's box material, I guess.
I guess not. But yeah, you would think they would have. I don't know. Was tenure wasn't that long as a Bill?
No, I know, but I mean,
I do remember wooing him over. The Bills played the Bengals the last game of the year, and we knew he was a free agent.
Yeah.
I was at the game, and then we all ran down the field at the end, and we're chanting for him to come to Buffalo. And I remember him saying that was one of the reasons.
And look at what you do to him now. Just treat him like complete dirt. Throw him.
I didn't do it.
Throw him this guy in the corner. He can't even watch the game. He had to leave and go to the local bar.
Yeah, he's like Eddie Mush. Put him in the bathroom.
Yeah, throw him out of here. Get him in the bathroom. And then most recently this week, apparently the juice was loose at the Bills game. I saw OJ made an appearance in Buffalo. So Takeo Spikes in the it's obstructed view, and then OJ sitting in a suite with a perfect view.
Yeah,
seems kind of odd.
Yeah, maybe he was not guilty though. OJ Simpson.
Yeah, he wasn't. His name's still hanging from the rafters, right?
Yeah, which does shock me.
That does shock. I mean, isn't that shocking that they really haven't taken that thing down?
Especially with like the new ownership and how involved like Kim Pagula was. God rest her soul. I thought maybe it would have came down because of her role.
She didn't die, did she?
I thought she did.
I think she was sick. I think she's sick. I don't think she's died.
Really? I thought she died.
Oh, maybe. I don't think so.
Maybe just things have so many bad things have happened to the Bills. I thought that happened.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. I think
no, she didn't. Yeah, I'm wrong.
Well, jeez, this guy's burying her.
I thought she was. It was that bad of a year for the Bills. Okay,
Yeah, I
give me
guess
a
so.
break.
Yeah, now the juice is allowed back in. I mean,
Yeah,
but yeah, I'm surprised. I mean, the guy did go to jail. I mean, I know he wasn't guilty for that apparently, but guilty
yeah,
for other things.
yeah. What was the sports memorabilia scandal?
Yeah, he went in guns a blazing,
Yeah,
trying to get his shit back.
yeah,
Well, he got it back. It is crazy
yeah.
to
And
go to
then
jail
some.
to steal your own stuff back.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah, but
We
I
live in
don't.
a
For
crazy
some
world.
reason, I don't think the juice is a good guy. I'm gonna go out on a limb. Like, sometimes you meet people and you're like, yeah, you know what? That's a good guy. You spend some time with people. I don't think when people leave OJ, they're like, you know what? That was a good guy. I think people leave a little nervous
He seemed
around that.
really nice in the Naked Gun.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. Maybe some CTE there, because you got to think about how many carries that guy had, because they literally, I never watched them, but they literally did. I was from my dad and people telling me that they would just run him every time, and
Huh.
everybody knew they'd have 9 guys in the box. They knew you were going to run the ball, and nobody still could stop him.
Well, I
That's
was
how good
thinking,
he
like, did they
was.
sneak him in there to
So
watch the
little
game the other
CTE.
night? Like, I'm like, dude, I go as a Jets fan. Like, I'm getting like beers thrown at me.
Mhm.
Like, people are, they're throwing snowballs at you. Like, they're like grabbing your kids. But I'm like, if OJ walks in, like, are they like high fiving this guy walking in, or is he like Taylor Swift in like the popcorn machine? Like, are they sneaking him in? Like, does OJ just walk around?
I think you sneak OJ in. I just don't think he'd want to be bothered by all the
Yeah.
drunks.
Yeah. Oh, I'm just saying, you got to imagine he snuck in at that
Yeah,
point.
yeah.
Snuck in and snuck out.
Yeah. Well,
So
the Bills are going to be sneaking into London sometime around Thursday to play the Jaguars.
yeah. So
Who
what
are-
are they? Where
who-
was the last game in London? Are they just staying there for
yeah,
2 weeks?
so the Jaguars are staying for 2 weeks. And I like to listen to the team's, local talk before we play them, and that's one of the things they're talking about is their quote unquote home field advantage. That they've been there, they've acclimated, and the Bills are going to be coming off a short week, jet lagged, and they like their way their defense is playing, and they think maybe their defense will make Josh Allen look like crap the way the Jets defense did, which is a bit of a stretch. I mean, the Jags defense is obviously playing well, but nowhere near, the talent that you got on a New York Jet defense.
Right. And I don't even think it's not even a super far trip from New York. I mean, I'm sure they're leaving pretty much
Mhm.
right away. It's only, I think it's 5 hours of a flight, so it's not really a crazy flight.
Mhm. It is a few time zones though.
Yeah, it's 5 hour difference.
Yeah, it is a few time zones different, which by making that trip, it does screw you up for a little bit, and I was about the same age a lot of these guys were, early 20s. It does mess you up for a little while for sure. But these guys are professionals. I was a college kid.
Right.
When I did it. So they're talking about that. It's interesting to hear what they're complaining about, and it's like interesting to hear like a team like of what the Jags talk about and their fans. It just reminds me of what the Bills used to talk about. Like, oh, if only our O-line was better. That's why our offense is struggling. And they're glad to be getting what's his name? Cam Robinson back off of
Yeah.
PED suspension. That must be the reason why what did they say? Either Trevor Lawrence is not elite or closest to being elite as they thought he was. And, you hear, oh, Christian Kirk is too small, or we got to get the ball to Calvin Ridley more.
See, I feel like Jacksonville's a team that like gets better as the year goes on. Like I don't know if they're traditionally like fast starters, but last year they really came on strong at the end. So I don't know. I think the Bills should win the game. I think it'll be closer than people probably think. But yeah, I expect Jacksonville to really kind of play tougher as the year goes on. I think Trevor Lawrence is good. I wouldn't say he's elite, but he's definitely been playing better with Ridley and some of the other guys they got there.
Yeah, like he could easily make the bottom of a top 10 if we were to sit here and hash it out.
Yeah. Speaking of top quarterback picks, we finally had our guy play like a top pick for the first time, I think maybe in his career. An interesting stat, though, from the game, which I thought was amazing, was Zach Wilson was the first quarterback in Patrick Mahomes' career to out-complete him, out-yard him, and out-touchdown him in a game. It's never happened in his career, and we still lost the game.
Yeah. And so do Jet fans still hate Zach Wilson?
I think for myself, it's still like I got to see consistency. I mean, I would be a liar if I was sitting here saying that I wasn't pleasantly surprised by the outing on Sunday night. Like, I mean, dude, when you're in football hell watching the Jets, like the last few weeks, like we never should have lost to New England. Like if he played halfway decent, we probably win that game. So we were quickly down 17-0, and I'm like, all right, here we go again. He really hadn't gotten much going. And then it's almost like they just flipped the switch with that safety and, started to just let him kind of be himself. I mean, he had 26 pass attempts, I think, at halftime, and he was just letting it rip. I really wish they would have went for it on 4th and 1 when they had gotten the ball and they kicked a 52-yard field goal and missed it.
Yeah.
I know they wound up picking the ball off on the next one, but it's like we're not good enough to be the team that's just like kicking field goals to be down 20-13 or
no, that's
like,
boomer football. That's what that is. That's boomer football. Let's get the field goal and have it close for halftime.
Right.
No, every time you get an opportunity against a team like Kansas City, you got to try to put it in the end zone or you're going to lose.
Right. It was 18. Yeah, it was 18-10, I think, at the time. And Sal had said after the game, which it's, I guess this one, he's made some questionable calls, but there was only 35 seconds left. It was at like, the 40-yard line or inside of it a little bit. And were we going to score a touchdown? Like potentially, but probably would have taken some risky passes to score. So really we're going for it on 4th down to kick another field goal anyway. And Greg Zuerlein, has been really reliable.
Yes.
So it's not the worst call in the world.
No.
It's just you would like to see us being a little more aggressive in that situation.
Yeah, I just don't think, I agree. I don't think it's an awful call. I just also am not sure if that's how you win the game. Could it mean the difference? Sure. You know, right? If he had made the field goal, it's tied and they go to overtime. At the end.
But yeah, speaking of awful calls, obviously how the game progressed with the Chiefs taking the lead up 3 points. And then Zach Wilson, unfortunately fumbling at the 50-yard line in the fourth quarter, after playing such a great game. He did talk about it after, just saying like he saw the defender was going to have a look to come after him quickly. So he wanted to get out of there. He had a hot read that he felt was going to be open very quickly. So kind of his body was just moving quicker than just grabbing the ball. He just can't happen. Obviously, he owned it. But after that, the two egregious penalty, or the one non-call on 3rd and 22, where Jermaine Johnson was literally just standing there with his hand in the air, being like held the entire time. They get the first down on that one. And then the Sauce Gardner defensive holding, which there's contact. I'm not saying that there wasn't any contact. Who's running into who, I have no idea. It looks like there's a little bit of the receiver running into him, Sauce trying to get his hand out of there. He actually literally tweeted out exactly what happened. He's like, you could see my hand. I get my hand away, so I didn't hold him. And then the worst thing ever, though, is that the freaking ref throws the penalty flag after the interception's made. Like, the defensive holding would have happened 5 seconds earlier and 10 yards further. So that flag needs to come out immediately when the ball's in the air, not when you see them catch it and intercept it and then you throw the flag.
Okay.
Like, something is completely wrong with that.
Is that do you think these are like Tom Brady, New England Patriots types of calls?
I don't know.
Like, you know what I mean when I say
you got
that.
Taylor Swift in the building. It's the Kansas City Chiefs. The NFL actually tweeted out after the game, or put on Instagram, that the Kansas City Swifties are 2-0 on the NFL Instagram page.
Yes, I saw that.
That's a freaking joke, dude. You shouldn't be doing that. Whatever. But that's what makes you think is like they will do anything to have that be a success. Like, they knew she was in the building. They knew the Chiefs are the hot team. They want Patrick Mahomes in the, leading the division and doing these things.
Yeah.
But you can't
in
make
all
these
in
freaking
all the
calls.
Commercials. Kelsey's in all the commercials now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But it's like, I just don't understand how the flag would come out after they intercept the ball. It's just confusing. And the coaches, the players, everybody has to stand up and answer to the media. Like, I'm so sick of it. I feel like the refs should have to do a press conference at the end of the game. Seriously.
Something they tell us as high school officials, that if you're going to make a call, you can't hesitate too long, because then it looks like you're not sure of your call.
You're not. Yeah, he clearly was not.
It doesn't look good.
I'm not going to lie.
They tell you this is a high school official.
I thought it was one of those situations where they were going to get together and they were going to say, you know what, there was no foul on the play.
Yep.
Jets take over the ball. But it just, obviously it didn't happen. And, we never got the ball back, because Mahomes, ran the ball, got the first down. 7 minutes from like the 50-yard line. It was just a comedy of events to actually allow that to happen, for them to hold the ball and go such a short period, because they got a 3rd and 20 on that. That was a 3rd and 20 also. They got a 3rd and 22. They had a play called back, get it again. It's like, this was the longest, shortest drive ever to just milk the game away and end the game. Plus, we had 2 timeouts. Every first down was like 11 yards. Like, they were just getting the yardage that they needed to get.
Yeah, it had seemed. I went to bed in the fourth quarter. I couldn't stay up any longer, but it had seemed that the Jets had their number. They were getting to him, and they made him look like crap.
Yeah,
But
2 picks.
Be that as it may with like the officials, but it's just like Mahomes then does the Mahomes thing and finds a way to win.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, I know, dude. It's they were getting to him every time. They were picking the ball up, they were making plays, and then just to be bailed out. I'm trying to find a text message I said someone, because Bryce Huff, he had 7 quarterback pressures on 18 pass attempts by Mahomes. Like,
That's crazy.
It's
That's
the Jets.
That's like Khalil Mack. What did he get? 6 sacks.
He had 6 sacks, but dude, the Jets play this guy anywhere between 15 and 20 snaps
He's
a
that
game.
number
Like, that's
40.
it.
He's like
47.
46 or 47. Yeah.
But he doesn't
Yeah.
play.
Yeah.
He doesn't. It's crazy.
Yeah.
He plays only on 3rd down, and he literally gets the quarterback. I mean, he's the one that got to Josh Allen last year.
Yep.
But he is like a game wrecker, and I don't know what the Jets are doing. This week, they did take a huge step back in snaps for Carl Lawson. So Bryce Huff was getting like 10 to 12 snaps a game. He actually got 15 to 25. So I think going forward, he's going to get the majority of the snaps. But the defense did their job. I mean, I don't know. The first 17 points were kind of a disaster start for them. But obviously Wilson played his best game ever, which was encouraging. So now it's all about, can he back it up this week against Denver?
I think it's also what happens with Jets fans in the media. Like, if he has a hiccup along the way, do they go to, the boo birds come out, the clever headlines in the New York Post come out. New York Jets fans would prefer Aaron Rodgers on crutches to Zach Wilson if things go bad again, or do they maybe I don't know, maybe support him a little bit, because what other choice do you have?
Yeah, no, I think Aaron Rodgers was at the game and he talked about supporting your teammates and things like that, and there was definitely a lot of support. Obviously, he was playing better. We'll see what happens if he doesn't play well. But it was interesting to see that when he gets a little confidence, how well he can play. And he went no headband for the first time in his career, which Rodgers has been busting his chops about the whole time. So it's funny, he stopped wearing a headband and all of a sudden he plays like Rodgers. And then, he silenced the critics. So this week he can go through practice listening to like, hey, Zach Wilson might be okay. Not he's terrible. And then obviously that loser, Rodney Harrison on ESPN.
Yeah, man.
I mean, the guy, dude, people are fired for like way less, man. Like, you're probably getting paid millions of dollars. And I mean, credit to Chris Jones to not taking the bait in that situation.
Multiple times, literally calling the guy trash and he's garbage. And like, it's like, come on, dude. Like, this is like the best analyst we have to pay these guys. Yeah, that's the issue, is that I could get trying to bait him if you didn't want, and I still don't agree with that kind of journalism, but I could see that happen. But calling him trash,
yeah, He's
Like
garbage.
like when you're the media, you're held to a certain standard.
Yep.
Like media enjoys all these privileges, right, of having a free press and all that. But with all of that on you, you have a certain responsibility in the way you do things. And like this, it's not like he's doing a podcast, right?
Yeah, that's what
In
I
his
said. Yep.
basement. He's not a guy on the radio on the drive home on the radio. This is a guy on national television,
Yep.
on the field, face to face with the player.
Yeah, he's not paid to be Howard Stern on TV.
Yeah, it was completely classless.
Yeah, that was awesome that Chris Jones didn't say anything. And I didn't really like Dungy, and the other guy were kind of laughing along with him too. It's like they got to realize like that was ridiculous. But he got to shut him up. I don't even know why he would say it after the game. It made no sense. He just played like an amazing game.
Yeah, Dungy also should know better. Like he tries to perpetrate himself as this like major Christian and stuff. Like I don't know if you're gonna say you're a major Christian, Dungy.
Yeah,
you probably shouldn't be laughing at that.
Yeah, they should just analyze the play. Like that's your job. Analyze the play, not freaking degrade people, dude. It doesn't make any sense at all. But I don't know. He's probably getting way more airtime. That's probably why he does it, because now everybody's talking about Rodney Harrison. Usually it's egotistical people. I think he was a special teamer when he started too, just like a bunch of other guys. So he should know better. You got to earn your stripes around here. So I don't know. Hopefully Zach Wilson keeps it going. Playing Denver, we get this win. We get back to 2-3.
Well, and that's the thing. As much as like in a way, I don't want him to be good, right? Because the Jets are such a threat. At the same time, it's like when you're a hater, you deprive yourself of inspiration. Like I love it when guys like Tua that everybody doubted, none of the other people want them. The Jets are having, the Dolphins are having secret meetings with Tom Brady on a boat to replace Tua. Then you see him rise above that. I mean, that kind of stuff is inspiring, to see when someone overcomes that kind of adversity. It was nice. It was nice to see. Yeah, even as a Bills fan, to see him play like that based on what he's been going through.
Oh, believe me, it absolutely stinks for me, even when the Bills are terrible, because there's really nothing to poke fun at. I mean, there'll be nothing better than, you guys haven't made it back to the Super Bowl, but there will be nothing better than if they lose in another Super Bowl for me.
Okay.
Because are you rooting for the Jets to win the Super Bowl?
It depends who they were playing. If they were playing the Cowboys,
I wouldn't be able to do it.
I'd say Jets.
I wouldn't be able to do it. The Bills fans are just too ruthless to Jets fans. When I'm attending any game, watching any game, there's no way I could do it.
But would it be any better if I went to MetLife?
I don't think, dude, it's more corporate. I mean, I've been to many games.
Get out of here.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you got the New Yorkers, but it's not the same. I mean,
get out of here, you hick. Go back to Buff. I can't even do it. Go back to Buffalo.
Those are not New York accents.
Those are terrible.
But they're good try, though.
Go back to Buffalo.
Yeah, send them out of here. Go jump on your tables.
They'll be like, your team sucks, and so does your pizza.
But yeah, so we'll see. I just can't do it. There's no way I could do it.
Yeah, there's few teams.
We got a few weeks before that happens.
I don't know if there's anyone I would for New England. I get what you're saying, because like there's nobody. Like I would almost root for like ISIS over New England Patriots.
There's no chance.
If they were playing a match with New England Patriots. With the Dolphins, it might be the same. I may even go for the Cowboys over the Dolphins.
I mean, I think I don't know. For me, I wouldn't root for any of those teams. There's no way.
No way. No
Dolphins would be the only one I would consider, because my brother's a fan of them. But no way New England, and no way Buffalo. I can't do it.
Because it's me in the 90s growing up hating the Dolphins,
I guess the only way it's a possibility is if the Bills decide to become an NFC team and they play the Patriots. Then I would have to pick one. I would probably root for, a tie or something.
I guess part of it, too, is like when the Bills have been really good, the Jets typically haven't. Like in the Kelly years, the Jets were never very good. I mean, haven't really been.
Well, the Jets haven't been really good very often.
Yeah,
that would be really hard to align that.
Yeah, when they had that little brief run with
the Bills were terrible.
The Bills were terrible.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, the Peyton Manning, Brady years, and Mark
Yeah.
Sanchez, the trifecta.
Yeah, Roethlisberger.
Roethlisberger, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the Manning going for the perfect season or whatever, and
Mm-hmm.
we wound up winning that game to get in. But yeah, well, no, it was a good week of football, fun going out and having that experience at the bar, and we'll see what comes to fruition this week. I'm really hoping we can get back to 2-3, and Zack shows a little consistency, and we'll see if the Bills could take care of Jacksonville over the pond.
Yeah, maybe I'll go to breakfast, watch the game.
Yeah, it is nice to get it over with in the morning and have the whole rest of the day.
Yeah, maybe go to the Nutcracker. They have TVs in there.
Yeah, there you go.
I haven't been to the Nutcracker in like years.
Really, you'll probably have to go to Bar Bill at like 7:30 to get a table.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Set up like a tent out night.
Yeah, you're gonna have to sleep over. All right. Well, good. Well, we'll catch up next week on the week's games. Good luck to your fellas.
All right, man. You too.
All right. See ya.
See ya.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to Rival Sports Pod. Please make sure to like and subscribe on YouTube or wherever you listen to your podcast. You can also email us at rivalsportspod@gmail.com with any topics, ideas, or questions.